What are 3 simple habits that we should look at if you are doing any business online?
Mm-hmm.
If you're doing anything online, what's 3 things should you look out for?
Some of these things that we're seeing within the Ghana space on TikTok Live, where there's some sexual content, like your digital footprint is forever. There's so much money here, but nobody knows where the money is.
What advice would you give to anybody here who has a regular job, 5K, 8K job, who thinks that it is greener out there? Welcome to the ABC Show, a platform where we talk about people building businesses across different platforms. My guest today is Kweku Bentil. He's a man of many disciplines. He's a DJ.
Yes.
Well, I see a DJ at night. He has a clothing brand.
I do.
He's in a tech space and also trying to set up something here in Ghana. Born to Ghanaian parents, raised in the US, works in the US government space. And I'll call him a cybersecurity expert, trying to touch on the tech space in Ghana. So welcome to the show, Kweku.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Honored to be here.
All right. I mean, in our context, we call you DB. Like,
technically, yeah.
Yeah,
technically, yeah.
So you were born in the US, raised by Ghanaian parents. How did that shape your worldview?
So there was always perspective. I learned very early on that sometimes certain things are bigger than you. You have to step up in certain places. You have to, just be mindful. Not everything can be about you.
Yeah.
So I learned that very quickly when I was younger. And I think it's helped shape me today because a lot of everything that I'm doing is with the mindset of, as much as it's important to me, I want to make sure that not everything revolves around me. Sometimes you have to bring other people into the nest.
All right. Culturally, how was that for you? Going to school, being the guy with Ghanaian parents in that space, how did that all roll up?
When I was younger, I didn't appreciate it much, because at that time, anybody insults you left, right, center. Yeah, you don't have a name like James, Jonathan, Daniel. Your first name is Kweku.
Yeah.
Already difficult to pronounce. Many people just, didn't understand, Africans and African culture at that time. But over time, I became very, very comfortable with my name.
Okay.
I became very comfortable somewhat with my identity. I would say when I reached college, that's when I was really able to come into my own, understand who I am. And now I'm even more solidified in who I am as a person.
All right. With knowing that you had a Ghanaian background, was there anything going on in Ghana that at that time in college helped you in saying, yes, I'm Ghanaian, that you had to, you could claim, hold on to say, yes, this is where I come from, this is where my parents come from?
I would say the community. I got in touch with a lot more people who were Ghanaian, some people who actually had family relations while in the States, and we hadn't seen each other in some years, and then we became very, very close. So we all had aspects of stories of different, similar upbringing, similar plights and fights, and it just made me feel more comfortable. And then overall, in school, we had what we called the African Student Association.
Okay.
So that helped to bring our plight, our struggle, the joys, the ebbs and flows of it all together, all in one. So definitely college was definitely a big proponent.
Right. Fast forward 2017, you start buying your own ticket, coming down to Ghana.
Yes.
For business?
No. Originally, it was pleasure.
Okay.
So at this time in 2017, I don't even think Uber was here just yet.
2017.
It may have been.
I think Uber had. I think at some point. Yeah, I think Uber. Yeah, Uber was in
okay. Maybe I just wasn't familiar with how to use it at that time. All I knew was taxi.
Yeah.
So I knew how to hail a taxi.
Okay.
But the GPS, I know for sure at that time,
Yeah.
wasn't the strongest.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's when my curiosity began to peak more in Ghana.
Okay.
So what I used to do is, before I would go anywhere, I would see if I can find it on Google Maps. If
Okay.
not,
Okay.
I was learning the map. Before I go out, I would look at the Google map of whatever it is up to date. Okay, if I need to get here, how far from here to
Am I-
here?
okay.
You know, the whole nine. So
Okay.
that was my big turning point and learning point in Ghana, and that's what made me want to keep coming back, because
Okay.
I need to continue to figure out this Ghana. And of course, year on year, you know, the GPS got better and better.
Mhm.
Now it's not
Yeah.
too bad. You
Yeah.
still not the best, but you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
it's light years better than what it was. So yeah.
2017 when it first came, I mean, for pleasure, was there any cultural shocks? Were there things that, I mean, aside the GPS of being what it was or what it was in the US?
Not necessarily. Ghana was how I remembered it when I came. I came in 03, and then I came again in 06. 06 when we were in the World Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah, I came in 03 and 06, and then 2017. But I didn't really start seeing things differently until 2018.
Okay.
2018 is when I was like, oh, there's a very big gap between certain groups of people
Okay.
in Ghana. And it's almost as if unless you take time and like really, really look and pay attention, you won't know. You won't know.
Was there a particular incident that caught your attention?
I watched somebody who didn't, let's say, look the part. Today I'm in a suit.
Okay,
right?
yeah.
Maybe I'm wearing a nice top and
Yeah.
jeans. Somebody else could be wearing a top and jeans, but it's maybe a little bit tattered, right?
Yeah.
But they're still okay. I saw how somebody treated that person, and I was like, why would? And then I talked to the guy. He was like, yeah, it's because of the way I'm looking. But I was like, in my heart, it didn't sit well with me at all. But at that time, once they know that you have this American accent, even though I can speak Tree a little bit, they
treat you differently.
They treat you differently. And I'm like, even in the States, if you're with me, anybody knows if you're with me, I don't play those type of games. Nobody will disrespect you in front of me like that ever. Because respect goes both ways. Respect is a two-way street. And I feel like sometimes because of maybe the car you have, maybe the type of job you have, you feel like you can just treat someone who may not look the same part as you anyhow. That one, I can't stand for that.
The American way of doing things, so the system. I remember when on my last trip, I had to pay the Uber driver before the ride arrived.
Yes.
Yeah, so I had to pay the Uber driver. In fact, I was asked whether I wanted to give a tip or not. And then with the Ghanaian reality, so you come from this space where you're supposed. In fact, I work for an American company, and when they come here in Ghana, sometimes the tips you give, the people themselves are amazed that when we go out and the Americans are among us, they get that kind of tips. Like, how do you juxtapose the systems built with the realities that you meet here when you started coming down for pleasure and then switching to business?
So when I came, I want to say the exchange rate was a little
higher than it.
If I'm starting in 2017, what was it? Maybe 4 cities to the
Four
dollar,
cities, yeah.
or 5 cities to the
4
dollar,
cities,
something like that.
That was just up there.
So, but things were still relatively
expensive,
but still on the cheaper side. Many of our friends will tell you now that we used to be able to come to Ghana and then leave with some dollars.
No, you don't do that.
That's not the case anymore, right? So the Ghanaian system actually makes sense. The US system, because everything is credit and debit based, it also actually makes sense there, right? Because with laws in the states and every state within the United States has their own separate laws. And I'm going to use this as an example where if you go to the southern part of the United States, which the company you work for is, they have a friendlier gun law.
Okay.
right? Now, if somebody knows that you have this enormous amount of cash on you, so the credit and debit system works because it's more like, okay, your car will be charged, but it won't officially be charged until the person drops you.
Okay.
And then after you can add the tip. Whereas here it's more like your distance might be a little bit longer traffic.
Yeah.
The GPS might not take you to the exact location, but you may be in the area. So they'll add maybe one city here, two city here, depending on time and duration of your stay or trying to get to your location. So it makes sense. In the US, it does that, but it'll let you know, hey, because of this, your trip will increase, right? And then we'll charge you accordingly. So I feel like in both areas, it makes sense. I think the issue for Ghanaians is that they want the money today. So card payments, especially for Uber, aren't their favorites because 2-3 days before they get the money, whereas they kind of want the money today. So, if you do card this, then they'll say they'll cancel your trip because they want the money today. So I think that's a divide, and I think that might be a divide because of the banking space here in Ghana, right? How easy is it to access your money from the bank? Yeah. I'm not 100% sure about that. Okay. So that's something that needs to be studied, learned, and may be implemented if it works. But, that's if.
You mentioned that you've been in this space where you sat in this seat running the podcast for like 8 years. Yes. And I'm trying to understand what got you into starting a podcast then. I mean, I remember when you hear the YouTube story where it took them a number of months to start seeing any revenue, if any, coming in. I mean, then was it an issue of you wanted to make money out of it, or you wanted to just put out the African story?
Good question. I think it was a combination of both. It was a new space, but I also wanted to give an opportunity for people to be heard. Not only first generation Africans, first generation Caribbeans, people of, black skin complexion. I feel like our stories sometimes aren't always told the best way. And there's always somebody unique doing something in a space, but this needs to be highlighted, right? So I wanted to create a platform with my guys where that is being highlighted, that is being seen, that is being heard, and the whole nine. So it was important to, at that time, I think we started in 2016, if I'm not mistaken. So I was an avid podcast listener. I was listening to podcasts before it became, Spotify will give you deal, Apple will give you deal, whoever, all these big people will give you deals. I was listening to podcasts way before that because it was an easier medium than going on the radio, because the radio in the States, I don't know how necessarily, I know radio is still very popular here in Ghana, but in the States, they will be playing the same songs within the hour, every hour. It's like, Charlie. So I also wanted to educate myself. So I would be doing audiobooks or podcasts. Okay. So I was like, you know what? I think in this space, I can do it. Plus, I believe that the questions that I like to ask aren't the typical questions that everyone else asks. So I'm studying, people from Power 105.1, Charlamagne the God, DJ MV, from The Breakfast Club. I'm studying Sway in the Morning, one of the most popular DJs, whatever the case may be. So I'm studying all of these big people, and I'm like, you guys are missing certain questions. That means that somebody's probably spoon feeding you the questions, so there's less research from your end. Okay. So I made sure that I did the research, I did the understanding, and I'm a curious person. Okay. I'm never nosy. I'm more so curious, and if I'm overstepping, then I'll backtrack. But I'm always curious. I want to know how this works. And once I know how it works, it's like, okay, then let's find out how to improve it, or how we got here, or whatever the case may be. Just overall how the system works. Okay. So that's been my MO.
Did you achieve both goals, or you ended up achieving just one? Would you say you achieved?
I would say we achieved.
Yeah.
As a team, we achieved more so one than the other. We were able to tell the stories. We just didn't get to the financial part.
Okay.
I think the financial part came, but there was also so much financial heaviness, COVID. we're all trying to elevate in our career. Wasn't our like 9 to 5. This wasn't our, this was something that we were doing on the side, hoping to alleviate us from our 9 to 5, right? But it didn't get to that point, and we weren't fully knowledgeable on how even to go about getting the information, the data from the podcast. We were able to see who's listening from where, but very nuanced, very ways to tell the story of the data we didn't have, and we didn't get that until later on. And I think by that time everyone was burnt out. So right. Such is life.
You ended up stopping. What led to that?
Burnout. I would say burnout from the team. It was more so. I think it came to its end. I wanted to push for 10 years. We did 8. It's cool. Right.
If we're starting today, what would you have done different?
If I'm starting today, I would definitely put more money into the marketing of our clips. More money into the marketing of the clips, because I don't think our content was the issue.
Okay.
Content was not the issue. It was just finances.
What advice would you have for anyone in this space with everything you've learned? I mean, you say you'd have put in more money in marketing the clips. There was burnout. The money, the revenue we're targeting, it didn't really come before you. And that was like 8 years. So I'm just imagining me sitting down here thinking I'm going to make money out of this thing. And it's 8 years. And I'm not really seeing anything. Yeah. What advice? Because a lot of people think that going online, boom, some money's going to come.
Yeah.
Is it that you should focus on finding money to come in from other ways instead of waiting for YouTube to start paying you? What would your advice be?
So, 2 separate pieces of advice. If you're doing it with a group, we were all friends, and we're still friends today. None of us have any bad blood towards each other. I think an outline of, okay, at what point is it no longer feasible for us? How do we go about it, right? Financially, how much are we all willing to contribute?
Okay.
I think that helps, because that then streamlines, okay, in order for us to see success, these are the things that we need to implement. Now, if you're doing it individually, understand who you're talking to, right? I think for the group aspect, we knew who we were talking to, but as an individual, such as yourself who's doing it, you know who you're talking to. Not only do you know who you're talking to, I'm pretty sure now you can get the data to see the people that you're talking to, are they receiving it? Okay. Are they hearing it? How often are they coming back? What data is telling you that? Once you get the initial, I don't know, maybe 2-3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years, once you have enough data, then it's more like, okay, what do you do with it? How do you market it? Do you continue to do this? Do you do activations? Do you do you reach out to Spotify and say, hey, these are my numbers, let's talk business? Or do you let them come see you? Whatever the case may be. It all is solely contingent on the next step for you. Okay. So I think a proper plan from year 1 to year 2 or year 1 to year 5, if you've met everything at a certain point, hey, all right, let's start to talk to other people. But it's important to know where you want to be at what point. And if you can't get there, it's okay. I think that's the biggest point. If you're not there, it's okay. But where you are at from whatever you've laid out, what can you do from there? And I think that's where a lot of people miss.
So I mean, in the introduction, I mentioned that you were a DJ at night, and I'm wondering how that also came up. I have a DJing story that I'll tell you. I'll tell you that after the show. Yeah, but how did you get into the DJing space as well?
Okay, so funny story. On my 10th birthday, there was a wedding on my birthday. DJ was horrible. It's like he'll play one song, everybody dancing. Next song, everybody go sit down. I said, I have to suffer on this on my birthday. So I was just like, if I ever get the opportunity, I'll always, if I have a chance, I'll go into DJing. Okay. So I was always a big on music. My mom was somebody who always had the latest CDs. So I forget the South African lady's name who sang when that song first came out. My mom was playing it left, Right. Every day in the car, every day. Anytime somebody would release a new gospel CD, whatever, every Sunday we listen to new gospel. High life, hip life, no matter what, always being played. So all of the songs kind of just stuck in my brain. But it was so Ghanaian focused. Okay. So I didn't know about other countries. Okay. It wasn't until I got to college that I was like, oh, this is what you guys listen to. Oh, this is Francophone music. Oh, this is well, of course, you'll hear your reggae dance hall on the radio, yada yada. So you would know that, but like, oh, this is from this country. Oh, this is from this country. Then you learn the nuances in between. But it came full steam ahead when I needed to pay for school, my final year. Financially, because of the recession that happened in 2008, a lot of things went south. And I first went to college in 2007, so there was money for 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, and then it started getting shaky. That's when the economy, the way the U.S. works, it affects the big people up top first, and then it trickles down. So some of us didn't get out of that recession issue until Obama's second term. Yeah. That's when things would peaked up for a lot of Americans. And please, anyone who's listening, you can correct me if I'm wrong. But I needed to pay for my last year of school, so I found money. I found a guy. He's Cameroonian. He taught me. His name is DJ Claude Demartian. He taught me everything I needed to know. Everything, top to bottom, top to bottom. And when I started paying for school, through the gigs, through everything, I was paying my random school fees here and there, and then it just stuck. Right after I graduated college and I couldn't find work, DJing was there. Right. Yeah. So I think this year makes it 15 years.
15 years. Whoa. Is it still more of the money issue, or it's now a combination of passion and then still trying to make some money out of it?
Both. With the way the American system is, and just period, it's always good to have a side hustle. It's always good to have multiple side hustles. So I do have multiple, which I'm sure we'll get into, but yeah. And it's been of immense help. It has paid for flights to countries that I would never been to. Somebody's paid for me to DJ a wedding in Greece, Jamaica, Dominican Republic, here in Ghana. All right. So I've been quite a few places.
That's great. Yeah. That's great. The influence of your parents being Ghanaians and then the things that you do now. I think earlier we spoke more about your dad and his business, having a water business here in Ghana. Mm-hmm. And then later you mentioned that your mom played a bigger role in you and the line you toe now for what you do as someone who has a side hustle. Mm-hmm. Even though you work in a government space, how is that shaping the things that you're doing now? The role of your parents and what they did?
So my mom always had multiple businesses all throughout. So when she was studying to be a nurse, what she would do is she either used to sell bread, yam, or these beauty products after church. And when she was in school, some Sundays she couldn't come because she was studying. So after church, I'll be the one to sell. Okay. I hated it. I was like, because people want to tell you a long story. Oh, I'll pay you next week Sunday. Don't show up next week Sunday. So I mean, to this day, people who owe her money, I still know. I still don't know their name and the amount to this day. So I was in a weird way. I was my own accountant. I was the accountant for the business, right? But she always elevated into something different, right? She would now instead of selling those things, she sells jollof. In the States, people come week in, week out, buying jollof. Me, I help her with making the stew. So I'm still her small houseboy. Right. At the end of the day, no matter how big and grown I am, yeah. I'm still her small boy to this day, right? But she showed me that there's always some level of evolution to doing something, right? You're good at it, just keep doing it. Somebody will pay you for it, right? My dad was more so the disciplinarian, the book guy, Yeah. Hey, you can if you study this, you'll get a job here, right? But I think that was his generation because of how things were at the time. But at the time, I was in that in between funny stage of, yeah, you got your bachelor's degree, but it's not enough. Yeah. As compared to when he studied accounting. he got his accounting degree. It was easier to get an
accounting
accounting job,
yeah.
right? So he was more of the book person. My mom was more of like the entrepreneur, but a low risk one. She is fearful of, stock investments and but unless it's something like guaranteed solid that somebody, but in terms of side hustle, she always knew, okay, if I do this and I do this, I'll always get the money. So I married both of them by just essentially knowing that as much as I know book, I also have to know street. I have to know the grounds. So no matter what, they're going to meet eventually. They will always coincide.
Yeah.
All these tech companies, all these whatever, is all from the books and the people on the ground. Now, some people just build it from the ground up, of course, and there's some people who just build it from books. But the ones who outlast and live, the marriage is always there in one way or another.
Yeah. And so my brother, I mentioned my brother is in Wisconsin. His wife also cooks jollof. Mm-hmm. So you have the Ghanaian, the African community cook fufu for us. There's the Ethiopians are asking for this, and I see that even though we are here in Ghana thinking that it is a lot more easier out there in the US, or it's greener somewhere else in Europe and all that, the people there are also breaking their backs to make sure that they bring in extra money. And 100%. Just one job that we think is good is not enough.
True.
And that has shaped you into wanting to come down here and do business. Before we talk about your business, what advice would you give to anybody here who has a regular job, 5K, 8K job, who thinks that it is greener? It's greener out there, not knowing the side of the story that your mom used to sell yam, and if it's yam, it's probably coming in from Ghana or coming from the Asian community. What advice would you have for somebody like that?
So I would never deter anyone from wanting to come there. I understand, and I've seen myself how the system works, right? No matter how you, from the security to job application, the whole nine, the system works, right? There's flaws, but it works, right? Who doesn't have flaws? Right? Yeah. However, I shared this with someone. Africa as a continent, there's so much money here, but nobody knows where the money is. Yeah. And it's not that maybe they don't know where the money is. It's just even how to get it, or how to even get in the right place to get the money. Nobody knows how. Not nobody knows how. People know how, but not everybody can get access to it, right? It's more challenging and more pressure in the States as compared to Ghana. There's a level of freedom here that many of us envy in the States, right? But in the same breath, the systems there that we envy, make it that you envy, that you wish were in Ghana to make your life even more peaceful, right? So it's a catch-22. It's one of those it's one of those things where just know your start is not going to be as easy, right? I don't think your skills necessarily translate as easy to the US. Yeah. I feel like the US will make it even more challenging. Okay. I'm going to use this example, but I'm not 100% sure. I feel like somebody who, like, computer science translates throughout. If you do coding, it translates throughout. But law might be different. Yeah, law definitely. Every state in the United States has different law regulations and rules. So you coming from, I don't know, the UG Law, I think it's University of Ghana Law School here, coming to the States, you have to learn here. Sure. And then you have to, there's a whole another process. Yeah. So with that whole other process, it makes it more challenging, right? Yeah. To come off the ground. Presently, Trump is even making it more difficult for individuals who come to the States to even do anything. Yeah. So things are more challenging, right? It's not as easy cookie cutter as people may make it seem. But granted, again, the systems work. So yes, there's ways around certain things, but it's more and more difficult.
Go down, yeah.
So I would say weigh your pros and cons. If you can live off 8K or 5K here in Ghana, see inside and push through.
Yeah.
Because when you come to the States,
8K is nothing. Probably paying a 1 month rent. My arguments with few people is like most of the people who come to me with such a conversation, I say, when the people in the US bring their items down here, who buys them?
Yeah.
When they ship the cars down, who buys them?
Yeah.
When they ship down their Abuchibola, who buys them?
Yeah.
When they bring down the TV sets, who buys them?
Yeah.
Yeah. We are the ones buying them. And I mean, for you to come down and want to do business here, it means that there's money here. But like you said, you don't know where to go, like find that money.
Yeah.
Yeah, not everybody knows where to find it, but there's something that once you keep pushing, you keep doing it, you keep finding a market, find a product that people need, you're surely going to find people that are going to buy it. Down to you and your business. I mean, you are running a clothing brand.
Yes.
You've been doing this for 5 years.
Yes.
You mentioned that you were looking at the market for plus sizes. You also spoke about people not having their real sizes.
Yes.
I'm looking at how you got into this space. And I ask you a question. If it's about plus size, I don't know what the numbers are here in Ghana, but it should make a lot more sense in the US because my brother, before he left Ghana, barely got a shoe that fits his I mean, he barely got his size. He barely got a shirt that the sleeves will be up to where it should be. So if you're talking about sizes and you're bringing it down here in Ghana, I'm wondering what you are seeing that others are not seeing.
So the one thing that I'm seeing, and I've made mention this to my team, is that I believe most of the imports here are from China.
Okay.
Right? Chinese individuals are relatively smaller than the average black, the average Ghanaian, the average black person or the brown person, you name it. So somebody will tell me that, I wear a 3XL, and I'll look at them and like, that's impossible. Right? Your true size is an extra large. Okay. But because of where you're sourcing your items from, you have to go 2 sizes up for it just to feel okay.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's why there's a lot of, people who do, seamstress or tailoring work, because I have to create clothes for your everyday wear. The meeting, church, regular t-shirt to go to the office, the whole nine. And maybe you get your regular plain t-shirt, like even the shirt you're wearing, I'm sure someone sold it. Yeah. Right? Finding that exact size in a store or in Kantamanto or Makala might be a bit of a struggle, right? Because you have to sort through so much, and then maybe you'll see your size, but maybe it's not the best, right? And I'm also noticing that the quality of clothing may be the ones of, how do I want to say this? The quality of the clothes might be one of those situations where it came from a good factory, but it's not what is approved. Okay. So it's like almost like the scraps. Okay. And to me, that's unfair, right? There's money here in Ghana. I know there's money here in Ghana. We're using Shure microphones to do this interview. These Shure microphones are not cheap, right? There's lighting here, right? So it's not that Ghanaians can't afford what is right or what is befitting to them, but they just don't have a market or somebody creating on an everyday basis for regular t-shirts, regular pants, or even shoes for that matter, to meet them where they are. And when we spoke before, I told you that a lot of businesses don't meet Ghanaians where they are. Yeah. That's my main focal point, meeting Ghanaians where they are. So if I'm meeting you where you are, I need to understand that, hey, I know our Ghanaian women can be curvaceous, either bottom heavy or top heavy, right? Maybe they may be a little bit stockier, built a little bit more buff, shoulders might be a bit broader. If I'm to make a everyday t-shirt, how does that fit for the everyday Ghanaian, right? Okay. Whether it's blank or has an item on it, how do I meet you there, right? So the main focus of everything now is to make sure that we can build it out. And then once we have it, and then we do a little testing here and there, from there, that's when you begin the mass production. So there's a big learning phase right now outside of just putting your logo on a t-shirt, you're in the learning phase. If I have this similar quality t-shirt at this rate and I charge it at this price, who, what, and all.
Okay.
So that's where I am in the scope of the business.
All right.
So for the past 5 years, I've been working. Yes, I focus on the States, but I'm also focused. I knew I was coming here to Ghana.
Okay.
I knew the bigger vision of the brand and everything. So it's more like I know where we're going,
Okay.
but I need the data, and that takes time.
So with and I can relate to the size issue. So I have like 45, even 46 shoes that don't fit, and I know that 46 should be something that
fits you. Yeah.
I've had people engage me. Let's start a shoe business. Our biggest worry is you're going to bring sizes that are not going to fit. So I'll have a lot of shoes stuck that I may not find people who will easily fit, and then have that is money stuck somewhere. Clothing the same way. Am I bringing for what size am I? Because a regular size 8 wouldn't fit a regular size 8 Ghanaian lady. A regular size 12 might not fit a regular size because you need to alterate and do a few things. So I get the size bit and the true size conversation. And I'm wondering what we're not seeing. Is it our fashion people in the fashion space in Ghana are not looking at creating these things in larger quantities to enjoy economies of scale? Because the Chinese is producing whatever size they have. They're going to produce a size, 1 million of them, and sell to different parts of the world, and they are going to make their money. But I am here and I can sew for the Ghanaian lady. I can stitch for the Ghanaian guy whose tummy is up and a size, a regular 17 might not fit him. But then if you're not able to produce to a certain numbers to enjoy economies of scale, you have to be there for someone to come pay you for you to do it. How do we go beyond that? Is it collaboration? How do we overcome that challenge?
You know, I've thought about this because similar to the example I stated where there's so many tailors and seamstresses, I wonder if they solely focus more on, let's say, church attire or evening gowns or wedding dresses, wedding suit. I feel as though the Ghanaian identity is very vast. You have people who like to wear caps, who like to wear beanies, who maybe just light flowy t-shirt or some, even linen, whatever the case may be. I don't think that enough of the tailors and seamstresses make daily wear. I think they make daily work wear.
Right.
Like I'm going to the office or I'm going to dinner or I'm going to a friend's place where you want to look a little bit more semi-formal. In the Nigerian culture, I know for a fact that oftentimes they wear their two-piece constantly, everywhere, right? I think it's the norm in their society. Whereas here, it's very fluid. Yeah. It's almost like anybody anywhere can, do their thing. So I believe that is the gap, but I'm still studying the market myself, just paying attention overall. Like I've come in here and I've seen how everyone is kind of dressed, how your audio guy dressed, how you dressed, how the madame there who's taking notes, it looks like dresses, how Debbie, who brought me here, how she dressed for, just overall, okay, this is that. But what if it's not? What if it wasn't an interview day today? Would you all dress like that? Okay. How do we meet you again where you are, right? And I think meeting you where you are is having what someone would call like a polo, right? An everyday kind of polo. Yeah. For a standard person, and then getting the sizing right? How many people need it at this size? How many people need it at this size, right? And how can you make it affordable? I feel like that's one of the biggest things where there's no real price for anything. It's almost like, oh, because this one has a name, okay, cool. But like, even if it is a brand, like there's a bunch of dress shirts, suits who have name brands, but then they're not cheap quality. They're good, very good quality, but they don't have a big name. Yeah. What is the affordable price for that? Right? There's too many there's so much pricing. I think because the government even mentioned it. I think when I listened, like it's a free market, right?
Yeah.
So they allow people to, but it's more like, yeah, but I should be able to know that on average I can pay this for this. I can pay 50 cities for a polo. I could pay 50 cities for some shorts. You know, everything fluctuates based off of the free market. So there has to be a way to pierce through it, and you can't get that in one night. Some of that takes time. So you have to be patient with it and understand that.
Yeah. I think the Ghanaian market, I'm a Kantamanto person, and if I'm going to get someone to stitch for me, it's probably once a while.
Mhm.
I mean, I've worked in a laundry space, and I
Mhm.
know the kind of shirts that I'm looking for, and I know that if I want to buy those shirts right from the US or from somewhere else, I know the price I have to pay for it. But I also know that I can get that same quality in Kantamanto for maybe a third of the price, or even a quarter of the brand new price. In some cases, they come in as store reject, so it's never been worn, but then you're going to get it lower than what you get in the market. So that for me is, from me, or where I sit, I went for it because it's what I want to use it for. Yeah. Sure. So I think that the Ghanaian tailor or seamstress, they are mostly stitching for occasions. Yeah. For events. So there's a wedding coming up, there's a color. Yeah. Everybody goes to get a fabric, and then the guys, you can easily tell if you travel outside, you can easily tell a Ghanaian from a Nigerian when you even buy what we wear, the way we dress. Yeah. So I think that identity, and also because if you go to the north, it's largely kente. If you come down, it's something else. Now the two pieces, maybe political. You feel you are there, middle income. Then they are doing a bit of two pieces. Yeah. From fashion to cybersecurity, which is what you do. I mean, yes,
my 9 to 5.
Yeah, 9 to 5 kind of job. Yes. What one major mistake would you say people make online? I mean, not just Ghanaians, but what mistakes are we making online in terms of cybersecurity? What are people missing? What should we be looking at? And I will touch on this because if you ask the Ghanaian to make a donation with their card, is a big issue. I mean, even for me, I for online card, I separate my online transactional card from my main debit card. Okay. Yes. So what should people be paying attention to doing anything online?
There's actually quite a bit. But one of the big things that people should focus on is how you secure your items, like maybe your purse, maybe your phone, is how you should secure yourself online. You don't give so much away, right? And I'll use a prime example. Many people on social media don't post in real time, right? They'll post 2-3 days after and then put the location, so people don't think that they're there, right? That is the way to go, right? And I think that's a great adaptation. But some of these things that we're seeing within the Ghana space on TikTok Live, where there's some sexual content, like your digital footprint is forever. They say it deletes, whatever the case may be, but that's going to be forever. That's why cyberbullying is a thing. The cyberbullying and regular bullying is just online. That's the only real difference. Yeah. So as much as you protect yourself in the real world without your phone or with your phone, is the same way you should protect yourself online. Okay. You should not make yourself a scapegoat to any type of anything, because again, I've seen it where people have pulled up clips of politicians who said something and in this day and age totally different, right? Yeah. So that's a very low hanging fruit example, but that just goes to show that your digital footprint is forever. Yeah. So you want to be conscious of what you put out there and what you do, because if you're not, then
how vulnerable are SMEs or small businesses with a lot of online payments now?
Everybody's vulnerable.
How? I mean, what should they look out for? Three things they should look out for. One,
everyone should do a digital readiness, I don't want to say test, but have somebody come and do a digital readiness for them. Because if you yourself on paper, if you have nothing digital, if you yourself on paper aren't organized, then when it comes to the digital space, you're finished. You can have everything set up. One person without the proper training, without the proper permission, or without the proper permissions, can leak your whole entire business like this.
Yeah.
Finish you like this. And once the person finishes you like that, it's even harder to come back, because now you have to pay more to get it back to normal. And
in the banking space, in the financial space, there's a lot of training, a lot of support to make sure that, because of the likelihood of losing other people's money. And then I'm looking at us who are running our own. I mean, Momo fraud is basic. Yeah, Momo fraud is basic, but someone hacking into your account and doing these things. What are 3 simple habits that for an SME we should look at if you have doing any business online? If you're doing anything online, what's 3 things should you look out for? Having a policy, like you said, paper, yes, but beyond the paper, what should we be doing?
So I haven't seen it yet in Ghana per se, but one thing that I think the government should look into is how they protect people's money. So, for example, in the United States, we have, whether it be a credit card, whether it be your normal bank, it will say FDIC insured. Okay. So there's a company that insures that up to $250,000 of your money, no matter what happens, big breach, you'll get you up to $250. You'll get your money back, right? Yeah. I think that companies should be focusing on that going forward. I don't want to say that Africa is behind the digital 8-ball. I don't want to say that. I think we're there. I think there's just aspects of it that need to be improved. So the aspects that I see is more so, how are you ensuring that, instead of being like, I think Momo was great, right? I think Momo works very well. I think they mentioned like it's almost like 1.5 trillion or something like that in transactions. Yeah. So it's something there, but how are you protecting it? How are you, like, what are you saying to the people who say, okay, well, I sent the Momo, why is it taking 2 weeks to reach the person's account? That's a big gap. That's a big breach. There's a problem right there, right? So, I'm not exactly sure the laws of the space in full, so I don't want to speak haphazardly. But hearing these stories lets me know that there's a gap, and the only way that gap can be filled is reassuring the Ghanaian, hey, so long as you're using this and there's evidence of sent Momo, whatever the case may be, this is how we make sure that your money is insured. This is how we make sure your money is untouched. You can always access it. If there's any problem, this is the pipeline to go through. And I don't think everybody knows that. I think everybody knows, oh, let me call, but like there's a gap in knowledge. So companies need to focus on that, because your back end is as strong as your front end, right? Nobody knows what is securing the Momos in the back end, but you want to make sure that it remains secure. So yeah, the Momo fraud, like we said, is like low hanging, but ultimately we're at the stage now where, hey, people are going to want to do bigger financial transactions. How do you sustain it?
But with Wi-Fi, I think internet is one thing that everybody wants to jump onto. Once you're in a space that's free internet, you have everybody wanting to jump onto it. What are the risks? What should people look out?
So the big risk with Wi-Fi in public spaces is that you're sharing with so many people. So people can, put malicious things on the network. So you want to be cautious of everywhere you go. Now, for the phones, it may not be as bad, but for PCs, it's pretty easy. Somebody can easily come onto the network, send you a quick link that you think is normal, and phew.
There's a few for me, yeah. All right. Ghana for you. And you've said that you've seen a lot of opportunities here.
Mm-hmm.
And it is these challenges that are here, the gaps that are there that make you feel, that'll make you see that there's money to be made.
Yes.
And I'm asking, what gives you that confirmation that when you put the money in here, you're gonna get it back?
Well, I think I shared this with you that money. When people talk about money, oftentimes they talk about their financial gain. The money for me, I see it totally different. I see money as I need to be financially compensated well for whatever task I'm doing, because the well compensation leads to being able to do other things well. But if I'm not being paid well, you're expecting 110% effort from me, and I have other expenses or whatever. So the reason why Ghana for me is a great place to operate from is because as much as things need to be revamped in a lot of different ways, the good thing about a lot of the spaces here within Ghana is that it gives you time. And time is what you need to build out a lot of infrastructure. How I think I see the operations and data if the information I'm receiving for whatever I'm doing, the data telling me otherwise, then that means I've been looking at it wrong.
Okay.
And the only way I know that is time. So financial compensation for me is more so to give me more time to make sure I'm going on the right path. And I know that there's money here because there's smaller things that you do on a smaller scale. Maybe sell 1, 2 here, sell 1, 2 here, and you just see over time, okay, I've made this amount. I scaled it up a little bit more. I made this amount. Okay. This is selling more than that. This is working more than this. Okay, noted. And then you study it. And then you use that to meet that everyday person where they are. So one thing I know Ghana needs is like a testing environment.
Okay.
There's testing environments, but I'm pretty sure those testing environments don't have rules and regulations, especially in the tech space, right? Because if somebody's trying to do a fintech, how certain are you that the person who gave you the blessing to go ahead and test in the digital space has made sure that you have all the frameworks in place, the rules and regulations that you have to apply to? Are you using local servers? If you're using external servers, how do we know we can trust them? Because hey, you'll be controlling people's data. So there's more questions than answers, but you need time to get those answers.
I mean, in terms of the tech space and then regulations, I mean, I know for sure that there are a lot of regulations because of I'm a bit in the financial space also. Mm-hmm. To get anything, collecting deposits, there are a lot of regulations. Mm-hmm. The difficulty, however, is that you are likely to have people who are not registered being able to operate in the system for a while because of the kind of promise or the kind of return that they promise to customers. Mm-hmm. So there are instances where the Bank of Ghana will come out or Securities and Exchange Commission will come out and say, don't use this platform, don't do this, mm-hmm. don't do that. But you still have a lot of people going out there because of what the returns that people are looking out for. And a clear case is a number one case where a lot of people
men's
think
gold, right?
Mm-hmm. Men's gold, everybody think they could invest, even though the Bank of Ghana was clear.
Well, yeah.
There are a lot of people giving out loans on tech platforms, digital platforms that are not approved by the Bank of Ghana. But again, because they can't go into the regular financial space, they don't have the credibility, they haven't built the data to get loans out there. They will jump on these things, also with the hope that they can also escape. They can run away. So the rules are here, and when you say time, I'll say that in Ghana, you think you are good until you have a problem and a loss catch up with you. Then you realize that like your time is actually over. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking at you being someone in the cybersecurity space and saying that you see a lot of opportunities here in the economy. Looking at what are you looking? Is it the physical economy, the real economy, the tech space? Are you looking at everything combined? Because I am a believer of ideas on paper. Everybody can put ideas on paper.
100%.
Yeah, I believe in test, hit the road, learn from it, and then adjust, and keep going. What opportunities are you seeing? Because if you go back and anybody says, yeah, you just came back from Ghana, what do you think I should invest in? What are you going to tell these people? Or will be your response?
Okay. So I think physical and both digital infrastructure need a facelift.
Okay.
Right. But again, I think there's certain things that are physical that could be done quickly. I just don't know who's in charge of what. For example, streetlights. There's no reason why it should be dark the way it's dark.
Okay.
Right. I won't mention the place that I went to, right? But there's no reason why in 2026 you are still having an individual write on paper everything when everything can be digital, where you can have your form digitally done and saved.
Yeah.
So instead of spending 2 hours, 15 minutes, right? I've experienced that here in this Ghana, even on my trip here, like how long something that should probably take 15 minutes takes 2 hours. So everything kind of bleeds into each other. We have a productivity issue, and again also a time issue where it's more so wasted time than time or value added time. So there's a big gap and divide there. So if I'm to tell anyone to come to Ghana and look at something, I think there's something everywhere.
Okay.
I think there's gaps everywhere, right? And your goal isn't to make it the European standard, the US standard. Find a standard that works for Ghana.
Okay, meet them where they are.
Meet them where they are. That's the name of the episode. Meet them where they are.
I mean, as someone in diaspora, if you're coming to Ghana, anybody coming here, what should they understand before coming?
Patience.
Why so?
Ghanaians do things differently than most people, so you need to exercise patience. It's hard to explain, but once you get here, you understand patience.
I mentioned I work for an American company. Something when you tell them that I went to see someone in the government sector and the meeting was 9 o'clock. I got at 9 and the person showed up at 1. They think that it's a lie. When you tell them that there's power outage and so something hasn't been done, they think that you're making up a story.
Yeah,
they don't believe that this day and age your power could go off. And I so much agree that you should have a lot of patience. if you're coming here. I also believe that the return on investments in Africa and Ghana is far more than you will find in other parts of the world, especially in America.
I agree.
And I think when we were talking, I said that if I lived in America and I had a loan of say 100,000 at an interest rate of say 8% per annum, I'm better off investing that money here in Ghana because I know that you are likely to either double that money if you have systems in place. So one thing that you should look out for again is beyond patience. You should have systems in place because without those systems, your money.
True.
Yeah,
100%. I 100% agree. I've heard that maybe the loan favorability isn't the same here in Ghana from like maybe I don't know, maybe Echo or Fidelity, whatever the case may be, right? So the interest rate is a bit higher. So there isn't too much favorability, but I'm with you when you say if I was to get it from the States and bring it here, it'd definitely be there. But I think for the States too, and maybe here in Ghana, I know that they're very rigid when it comes to Black people, when it comes to certain things. So I know the difficulty is there, but it's not to say that you can't get the money. Not to say that you can't get the money. You'll definitely get the money, especially if you have a good business plan and you have a good way forward. It just may not be as seamless and easy. So there's challenges everywhere, but I definitely agree with you. The ROI is definitely here.
For someone who's living in the US for most of your life, trying to do business here, what would you define success to be in the next 10 years if you finally moved here?
Success to me in the next 10 years would be having a proof of concept be known at the everyday person Ghanaian's level.
Okay.
Like, I feel like there's like, when I was coming here, there was a guy who said that he has created a marketplace, a digital marketplace for spare parts, where you can find mechanics, spare parts for whatever you need. Because they said that if you go to Abu Sukai, you can almost spend a whole day looking there for parts, right? So again, another gap where, hey, how come there isn't a stationary place where if this location is known as the spare parts hub, why isn't all spare part, like somebody having an infrastructure set up where, okay, all Lexus spare parts here, all Toyota spare parts here from every kind, Vitz, Yaris, the whole nine. Why isn't that there already, right? It begs more questions. But for me, it's more so, okay, I've built something that the everyday Ghanaian knows about, can use, and they're okay with it, despite maybe the other infrastructure, physical infrastructure aspects that aren't fully there yet. At least this is there for them, and it makes sense, and it makes life easy. To me, that's success. It doesn't have to be multi-million-dollar. It doesn't have to be billion-dollar. It doesn't have to be, oh, I got an appointment under some minister. No, it's, have I made the everyday person's life easier with this idea?
All right. That's
success.
To touch on the guy who has a marketplace for spare parts. So I've been in the hospitality space for a while, and when there was this food platform that came, not Yango, Glovo,
and they left,
Glovo came to Ghana, and then so there's a case. If you have a platform where you are not the one selling the parts, the typical person who has a spare part, would you want to pay the commission that they are paying you beyond a certain time? So this is it. And I mean, this is discussing what business. Yeah. So if you're looking at doing a tech business in Ghana, you think you can just apply the way it works in the US. Think through it. So there's a spare part dealer who wants to sell to me, and then I am okay going through you to the spare part dealer. Now, if that spare part dealer has to pay you a one-time premium, then you are okay. If they have to pay you on a monthly basis, then you have a problem. If they have to pay you a commission for whatever is purchased, then know that you have a problem. If it's a one-time premium, then you are okay being in business. Now, if it's not a one-time premium, the moment that the customer gets to that spare part dealer, they're going to cut a deal behind your back. So beyond, if you're not doing the one-time premium, they're going to cut you out of business. And that's something that happened to Glovo. Glovo was charging on every food that was leaving your kitchen a percentage up to 40% on whatever you were. So then, I mean, I knew Glovo was going to be out of business. The same way there's online markets. If you look at Gigi, Gigi, you pay a premium to promote whatever you are selling. They're not charging you for using the platform. But if you want your items to be the one a customer sees anytime you're looking for it, then you have to pay. They are constantly calling you to promote your ad, do other stuff. So then they don't care whatever you do with the customer. So you would have to look at a tech business in a way. And I think we had a conversation earlier that technology is one. The people behind it who use it is also another. And sometimes when people come in and think that this thing is working so much here in Europe, so let's implement it. Another friend called. I'm in Germany, and there's an app where you can get somebody to clean your house for you, leave your key, they come clean your house for you, and then you pay them, and then you are gone. You try that in Ghana, in more cases than not, your house will be empty. By the time you come back. So the systems are different, and usually for people who are coming in to do tech stuff, I say look at the culture, look at the things behind the things that you do before you move in. I mean, we're wrapping up. For
Yeah.
your younger self, if you had any advice for your younger self with what you've been through now, learning from mom, learning from dad, the tech space, coming to Ghana, doing a podcast for 8 years, what advice would that be? Is there anything you would do different? Would you say, yeah, we took the right road, let's do the same thing again?
Yeah, I would tell myself, be less fearful. One of my biggest fears was my own success.
Yeah.
I was comfortable doing things. I just wasn't. I felt like if I did it in the public, people make fun of me. I'd be looked at some way. But it's okay.
Okay.
It's very okay. It's very okay. Because the end goal you have in mind is not the end goal they have in mind.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid. And I was fearful. But now, because I've always been reserved. I'm naturally I'm a shy person, but don't be afraid, and understand know differently.
Okay.
That's one of the things. Understand know differently. No's at times are just an avenue to the yes that you need to hear. The yes you need to hear is probably because of the no that you got before. So you've gotten better, or you've scaled down to make, again, I'm going to keep pushing the point. Even in the States, meet people where they are. Meet people where they are. So, younger self.
All right. My final question: what legacy are you trying to build between Ghana and the US? I mean, you mentioned that we are promoting Ghana with a lot of the nightlife, the dirty Decembers. I mean, the government is pushing other people to export to. You saw the Fugu conversation between Zambia and all that. So, what legacy are you looking at? That there's this Ghanaian based in the US or US based Ghanaian who is doing this much. What legacy are you looking at?
Well, my goal is definitely to be home.
Right.
Definitely to come home. But the legacy I see is more so that at the end of it all, I met Ghanaians where they were.
All right.
And I grew with them.
All right.
Because if I meet you where you are, that doesn't mean you should stay where you are.
We should grow together.
We should grow together.
Yeah.
And as we grow in trust.
Yeah.
I feel as though so many Ghanaians are losing or have lost or don't have. We even talked about it. Ghanaians trust each other, but they don't trust each other. So there's a silent trust, and there's a very big distrust.
Yeah.
So trust takes time, and you can lose trust in the nick of time. So take your time, but don't take forever. So I'm not doing that to do play on words, but this is true fact. Take your time.
Don't take forever.
But don't take forever. But also, with the time, make sure you ensure trust. Don't be doing some 1 2 1 2 here there like, oh, no. Be honest with the people.
Right.
Hey, this is what's happening. Yes, there's legal jargon, and there's other aspects that you can make it sweet, cool, but just be honest.
It's the reality.
Because no matter how you slice it, on the ground is on the ground. So be honest.
All right. Kweku, I say thank you for the honest conversation.
I thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, it's been insightful. And I mean, to anybody out there, if you're in the diaspora, looking at coming to Ghana, looking at going into any other African country, I think this is a conversation that you should listen to.
Oh, for sure, definitely. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
All right.
All right.